This is Chip Maxwell, and you're listening to the Retire Smart podcast with David Brooks. Today, we're joined by financial advisor Sean Swanson to discuss all things Social Security, including the upcoming Social Security Blueprint class. With recent changes like the Fairness Act and its impact on lump sum payments, we'll break down key strategies to optimize benefits, avoid tax pitfalls, and ensure financial security in retirement. Stay tuned for valuable insights.
In the studio, once again, we have Sean Swanson, who covers all things Social Security for us, and we have our second most popular class, at least according to our stats last year, Social Security Blueprint. You talk about how to maximize and optimize Social Security. So welcome to the studio, Sean, and when is your class?
Yes, coming up next week, Tuesday and Thursday. So Tuesday, April 1st, and no, it's not April Fool's, David.
So if you come to the Tuesday class, he's going to tell you to take it early and tell you that was, no, just a kidding, right? So.
Yes. No, so Tuesday, April 1st, beginning at 6:30 in the Midwest Learning Center, and then Thursday, April 3rd, at 6:30 in the Midwest Learning Center. So 2 opportunities. I'd encourage people to register because those classes have been filling up lately.
I got to tell you, and I'm going to have to buy carpet for the Midwest Learning Center.
Yeah.
We've been running through there. We had a Smart Spend Down class that was completely full a week ago Saturday. Then we had an IRMA class this week. Our first time doing that. That was really interesting. That's the Medicare penalty line. We had 2 tax and estate planning classes that were really successful. You've got 2 Social Security classes. Man, who is scheduling all this stuff, Chip? Figure out my schedule. And the sad part is they're making me show up to some of these things. I'm like, hey, now my wife says, no, go home. Anyway, all right.
It's a busy time.
We had some changes here recently in Social Security. The Fairness Act was passed about this. Again, it does not affect but a very small contingent out there. But we have clients that are affected by this, and we got people getting checks in the mail, right? So lump sum checks have started to be delivered, and so we want to make sure people understand if you are in that we call WEP or windfall elimination program, you may be getting a shore up check here. We had one client get one 5 figures, and we want to make sure you understand there's some complications you got to think about. This could actually punch you into another tax bracket. It could create Medicare penalties. It could make more Social Security if you're drawing it be taxed, actually. So all kinds of things.
Yeah, and it only affects a pretty small amount of people. So it might affect some teachers, firefighters, and police officers in many states. And these would be folks that in the past, they were doing work that wasn't covered by Social Security. And because of that act, they're now going to get an increased benefit and that check. One of my team members, Jacob Oran, let me know that the way that he's helping a couple of clients that are dealing with this is he's having the client download the form W4V and to take out quarterly withholdings. The reason being is if you just make a normal salary and you suddenly have you said 5-figure check come in, this could cause you to have an underpayment penalty on your taxes. So the best practice would be to start making quarterly payments so that you're at least the 85% level of where your total taxes are going to be.
And again, there'll be no penalty if you're not over 110% of your previous year's tax bill. That's called the safe harbor rule. So if you're like me and you're disciplined, you may want to just take that cash and stick it in a treasury or a CD or something that's going to mature the following April and pay the bill as long as, again, you're not going to go over that limit. If you think you are going to go over the limit, another way to do it is if you are currently working, you can just increase your withholdings through your payroll deduction at work and not worry about doing it at Social Security. Again, but you just need to be thinking that, okay, wait, I have more taxable income coming my way. It's a blessing, but you get this lump sum check and it is taxable, assuming you have other taxable income. Again, if you had no other income, it would in fact be tax-free.
Yes,
right?
It would be.
And the blessings is this happened this year instead of previous years. So guess what? That lump sum check, the state of Nebraska doesn't get any of it, do they?
No, they do not. They do not.
So good news all around there. So it's a blessing to those people that were affected by this. Again, if you want to learn about the Fairness Act, what it's changed, and all the complications when it comes to choosing when to draw, because there are hundreds of different combinations, especially for a married couple, over 500 combinations, you should attend this class.
Absolutely. And what I love about how we serve the families that we serve is Social Security is a key part of income in retirement, but it was never designed to be the only income in retirement. So one of the ways that we serve the families that we serve is we build out an inflation-adjusted income plan, and we have Social Security dialed up as part of that. Well, one of the things we talk about in the class is that there are times when it may make sense to take Social Security early, right? If someone had, unfortunately, a health condition that got diagnosed, it would be in their best interest to take it early. But there's several opportunities where taking Social Security early would actually be a mistake. David, what are some of the big ones that you think of when you talk about when it might be better to take Social Security later?
Well, a lot of people misunderstand the tax implications. And again, we're not giving you tax advice here, right? So when it comes to Social Security, you need to understand what are the tax implications. So we will show you through software and actuarial data when to draw Social Security based on how to get the maximum benefit from the government. And again, for most people that break even, if you were going to draw early, say at 62 versus 67, which would be your FRA for anybody that's not drawn yet, you're taking a 30% hit, so it takes you until you're about 77 and a half years old, typically, and it's a little different based on your exact dollar amount, but to break even, right? So if you waited and you live past that age, you're going to get more money. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, if you want to wait all the way to 70, the break-even comes around age 80 to 81, depending on exactly how much your Social Security is. But the difference there is how we recommend this, right, is for single people, FRA age is usually sufficient, right?
Full retirement age.
Yeah, FRA, yeah, full retirement age. Where if we have a married couple, sometimes we want the larger earner, the one who has the larger check, to wait to 70, if we can build it in the plan, because of the survivorship benefits. So now we're talking about the taxation benefits, we're talking about the survivor benefits, and then the maximum benefits. And all this is optimized by understanding how you'll be taxed, when you'll be taxed, et cetera, like we're talking about. And again, Social Security was never meant to be taxed. Of course it is, right? Mm-hmm. But most people don't know it's the single largest tax the average American pays into the government yearly, because Ouch. It's 12. Basically, we're paying 12.4% of our wages up to the $180,000 in earned income per person to Social Security. Now, you're getting that through payroll deduction. You're paying 6.2. Your employer is paying 6.2, but it's embedded in the wage they pay you or offer you, right?
That's right.
That's larger than the average income tax. The average American's income tax is in the single digits effective rate. So it's a 40% larger tax than income tax for the average American. And most people are clueless with this stuff, right?
100%. And, there's a couple of other real-life examples. I had a really busy week last week with client meetings, and there was one couple where they were needing to access health care prior to age 65. And we talked about the Affordable Care Act. And the way the Affordable Care Act works is...
Which is 15 years old this past week. The Unaffordable Care Act, as I like to refer to it. So I actually have a chart, maybe I'll put it in the show later, shows the inflation jump in premiums when that was passed 15 years ago. But anyway.
Well, yeah, and you're right. But in this particular case, the goal is, because the Affordable Care Act is based on a slider system where the lower your income is, the higher the subsidy is. That was one case where turning on Social Security would have negatively impacted their subsidy for affordable care. And then the big one is, I love the fact that we build out a smart plan for all of our clients that covers all 5 of the key areas. And one of those is when we're doing Roth conversions, there is a prime age where doing maximum Roth conversions are wise. And if we're able to not turn Social Security on, David, that opens up room in that beautiful bracket to be able to get money moved from the IRA bucket to the Roth bucket.
And you'll never pay tax on those dollars again if you follow all the rules.
Amazing.
Right?
Yep.
You guys got me clawed back into the conference room. I haven't sat in on a new client in over 3 years, and due to the overwhelming response of clients right now, feeling the need to, people that have been listening to the show forever, okay, I need to come and see you guys. And we've overwhelmed here to start this year. And so what do we have, 16 or 17 advisors on the day? I can't even keep up, right?
Yep.
But so I actually had to go in and take a few appointments, and I was sitting in there with someone in that very same position, had done all the hard work, had saved up a couple of $1 million in assets and retirement accounts, et cetera, but was on the Affordable Care Act, or is today. Mm-hmm. And they're like, well, yeah, we're getting about $1,000 a month in subsidy, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, well, okay, yes, you are, but is it costing you money? Because they happen to have over 7 figures in those tax deferred accounts you were just talking about.
Oh my.
So I just did some simple calculations. It's about $319,000 in savings over here versus the next 2 years you give up that $12,000. $24,000 to get you $319,000. That might be a pretty good horse trade, right? So
Yes.
you don't know what you don't know. How Social Security actually affects taxation, when you're going to withdraw income from those retirement accounts. I mean, you've been saving your whole life, but you're probably unaware you can pay 8 different taxes. Actually, you could pay 10 taxes on one IRA distribution if it was large enough, right? Medicare, Part B, Part D for you, for your spouse, that's 4. Federal income tax, state income tax in some places, net investment tax, alternative minimum tax, I mean, it just keeps going on and on and on. And people are not told about this stuff, right? So you kind of cover how all this is laid out, how to make the decisions, how you're going to get taxed at the class. Again, when is the class?
Yep, the class is this upcoming Tuesday, April 1st. No April Fools on that, at 6:30 p.m. And then 2 days later, Thursday, April 3rd at 6:30 p.m.
And if you attend the class, they will run, Sean and the team will run you a complimentary maximization report on how to maximize Social Security. Now, just so you understand, that does not happen at the event. We got to get some information from you following the class. But if you attend and you want that, make sure you let them know at the event. Hey, thank you. We're out of time this week, Sean. Thanks for jumping in the studio.
My pleasure.
Thank you for listening to the Retire Smart podcast with David Brooks. If you want to learn how to generate lifetime income, reduce your tax bill, and maintain your lifestyle in retirement, visit retiresmartpodcast.com. And make sure to subscribe to keep up with new episodes every week.